out for this first stage, and then that's very clear to the juror. I mean, there will be others of you who will be just saying, I want to do this project.
And that's fine too.
Specific amount, and that's fine.
Right.
And they're not going to be somehow, one's not going to be like, they're all going to be considered. I mean.
Right, and you might have a budget that comes up to $1,500. That's really all you need.
Yeah,
to
that's
do
fine
this,
too.
what you're doing, and that's fine too. You don't have to push the envelope here, but you do have to be responsible to make the connection between what you're doing and what it's going to cost and how this will be realized. Because nobody wants to give money to something that they think that's not going to work, that's not going to be realized. So again, it's always connecting the dots A to B. So materials, equipment, rental, and purchase. That's something to think about. Shipping, if you have any shipping expenses in here, you have to hire any consultants. I mean, I'm saying a lot of things that go into budgets and they probably won't necessarily have to go into your budget, but I feel responsible for, saying all the things that could possibly be. Studio rent, if you're outside of RISD, you might need to rent a space to realize this project. So studio rent, office supplies, you might have liability insurance issues, we don't know. You might have utilities that you have to pay for. So things like that. You need to kind of come up with, and in some of those cases you need to guesstimate. You need to say, okay, next year I'm planning to spend another year in Providence after I graduate, and I know that a studio will cost about this amount of money, and it's going to take me 3 months to realize this project, and so 3 months of studio rent. You don't put in the year of studio rent, but you would put in just for the time period of your project. Questions about that? And whatever utility, and you all know people that are renting something somewhere out there, so they can give you some help with this. But spend a little time and get some real figures, and don't just think that you can do it some other way. So maybe you can get an in-kind thing. Maybe it's like you're going to make this project in your parents' garage. That's how you're going to make the balance. That's how you're going to make the budget balance. Because you need $5,000 worth of material for this, and then you're getting free rent and room and board, and that's how you're going to make it happen. So that's called an in-kind donation. In-kind means that somebody, instead of giving you money, gives you goods and services. And parents are great in-kind funders sometimes. There was a question back here.
It's really tangential, but it's something that I had in mind that I need to ask before. What actually is, and maybe in perspective, sort of missing it and I'm not seeing through it. What actually is the completion sort of time frame? I mean, is it a summer or a year? I mean, that'll help judge, or I can help us judge actually how much work will.
Start with what is the project, what is it that you're proposing, and what is the time frame with which that can be accomplished. So it could be, I would think that for RISD, they're going to not want anything that extends beyond a year after graduation. For Patty? What's a time frame that you could think about here? I would, as a panelist, I would have a hard time funding you for something that's going to be, many years.
No, exactly. But I think I'm thinking, in terms of sort of describing the end product, if I should be thinking in terms of what I can accomplish during the summer, or should I be thinking, I'm first I'll be here for 1 more year, or should I be thinking?
Well, for you, your project is going to be for something for next year, and that's thesis. It could be thesis, it could be something associated with next year. Because for you, because you're here at RISD, that your grant would be used while you're here at RISD.
Sure, I was just expecting to be thesis this summer. I have a project in mind that I wanted to turn to sooner.
So that's fine. You could do that.
We say in the guidelines should include, a general description, kind of scope of work, time frame, anticipated outcome. We don't want to legislate that it's gonna be, you know, something you can do in 6 months. I mean, you all work in so many different ways. We're representing 16 different departments here. We needed to keep it a little bit flexible in respect to the.
It would be absolutely fine.
Research in a very different way from
Right.
studio-based artists. We want, you know, we didn't want to kind of,
So to answer your question, to apply for a project that you want to complete next summer should be fine. Within, you know, you know, you're going to start working on this and you want to get to a certain place by the end of next summer, you can apply, that's certainly that's a decent time frame. If I answered your question.
I'm sorry, I'm just asking because I assumed that I was missing it and that was in the perspectives. It just sounds like it's relatively fun time. It's fine, I just didn't know that.
Again, I think we have to go back to what it is that you want to do and what works for that. That's the connection that you want. You can't, somebody would know that if you propose something and you try to fit it into what you think that RISD wants as a time frame and it doesn't fit, that will show up. That will seem obvious to the reader of your application. So go back to it's an interesting process, and that's why I think what's good about you having to do this is it does promote a certain type of clarity and that certain way of thinking about what you're doing and how you're doing it that's not amorphous and not and really I can't think of anything better than to be a graduating senior and to be leaving graduating from RISD and to be leaving here with the mandate to realize a project within a period of time, because you know one of the things that happens when you graduate from an MFA program is one can really feel like, you know, you've fallen off the edge of a cliff. And here RISD is giving you a parachute to make a very kind of wonderful transition from graduate school into your own independent practice again, where the deadlines become very different. And they're not semester-based, they're not year-based, they're based really on, they're work-based. And that's the way it will be, hopefully, for the rest of your professional life, that your deadlines will now be driven by the work. And sometimes the work takes longer, or, you know, or shorter time spans.
I think, Jeff, you just have to underscore what you just said. I mean, I think, you know, again, having somehow been on the other side of this too, and been a juror, I think you're just looking for, you know, a kind of clarity of what that proposal is and a kind of internal consistency. You know, maybe you want to do, you know, maybe you want to go someplace, you know, take a photograph, and you know, you may just do that trip in 1 week and go take lots and lots of photographs, and then you'll come back and continue to work on that. I mean, it's, you know, it's just, you know, and again, 16 different departments, lots of different kinds of ways that people are thinking about their work at RISD, and we don't want to have you feel like we're somehow privileging certain kinds of proposals over others. So we're just asking you to be clear and have a kind of internal consistency, if you will.
It all goes back to a juror is going to award something that it's a thoughtful proposal with some clarity that they can see how this is going to work within this artist's larger body of work, which comes from the work samples, and then they're going to get from that, you know, they're going to see that, and the budget seems to reflect that, and that will all work together. Those